Let's review the terms you just learned. While the term competency is not defined by USPEP does contain a competency rule, which requires the appraiser to have the ability to identify the assignment problem, to have the knowledge and experience to complete the assignment competently, and to have knowledge of the laws and regulations that apply to the appraiser and to the assignment. The rule also requires that the appraiser be familiar with the type of property being appraised, with activity within the relevant marketplace, with the marketplace that is within the relevant geographic area, and with the relevant intended use of the report. If, prior to accepting an assignment or while performing the assignment, the appraiser determines that he or she is not competent, this rule requires that certain steps must be taken in order to complete the assignment competently, and those steps must be documented in the appraisal report. Note that it is only after identifying the appraisal problem and determining the scope of work required to achieve credible assignment results that an appraiser will be in a position to determine whether or not he or she is even capable of completing the assignment competently. Online appraisals refer to those appraisals transmitted via the internet and that make use of digital images and non-verifiable identifying information provided to you by the client. Online appraisals are valid for certain appraisal intended uses, but not for others. For instance, online appraisals would normally be inappropriate when doing appraisals for charitable donation purposes. They're also valid for certain types of property, but have limited use for other types, such as very valuable items or items requiring testing or the use of instrumentation to properly identify or authenticate. Note, however, that online appraisals are just as valid for assignment conditions in which photographs have traditionally been used. An example would be items that are no longer available for inspection, such as in the case of items that have been stolen or lost in a fire. Personal property is any tangible property that is not classified as real property. And real property is land plus improvements to the land, if any. Antiques, chairs, tractors, linens, jewelry are all examples of personal property. Intangible property is any non-physical assets such as franchises, patents, copyrights, or goodwill. Intangible property is normally associated with businesses, and as such, the appraisal of intangible property normally falls under the purview of the business valuator and not the personal property appraiser. Appreciable property is property which usually increases in value over time. Normally included are many types of antiques, fine art, and collectibles. While on occasion some appreciable property might go down in value, the trend is normally upwards. Depreciable property is property which normally decreases in value over time, such as an old refrigerator or television sets. Note that on occasion a property might be depreciable at some point in time, but may become appreciable later on, perhaps because of an increase in collector interest. An example might be Depression-era furniture. The reverse can also happen as well. Think of Beanie Babies. A primary distinction between the two types of property is that while depreciable property can usually be suitably replaced with a brand new item, such as a 2-year-old sofa or a flat-screen TV, because of its antiquity, collectability, provenance, etc., appreciable property normally cannot be suitably replaced with a brand new item. The distinction between appreciable and depreciable property is also important as it impacts the calculation of actual cash value and loss of value in damage claims. It impacts the possible methods of replacing a property, and it may even affect the approach to value used by the appraiser.